Donald Trump is banking his whole campaign on the idea that America's reputation as a global power has diminished under Biden administration. He has even said that the war between Russia and Ukraine or in the Middle East would not have started had he been in power. So is foreign policy a factor among US citizens in the upcoming polls?
Yeah, so it's a great question. So if you look at public opinion polling and what factors have driven voting behavior in the past, foreign policy is generally a very, very minor consideration for the U.S. electorate, with the exception of cases where U.S. soldiers are actively fighting in a kinetic war. So Vietnam being a big prominent example of that. Iraq, the Iraq war, and Afghanistan are slightly lesser examples of that. So it's a big difference in the 2024 election compared to those previous.
Because US is supporting Ukraine majorly amid the ongoing war in Russia.
Yes, so it's obviously an important issue, but significant amounts of money are involved in it. But if you look at the issues that the electorate cares about, foreign policy is just a very minor consideration. So I think there's some voters who will decide between Trump and Harris on the basis of foreign policy issues in 2024, but it's a pretty small segment of the electorate.
Okay. So Indian Americans are a major chunk of US population. Like, how much do you think they will, what is their inclination, how much do you think they will decide in the results of the White House? How much role do you think they'll play?
Yeah, so Indian Americans are a small but significant part of the electorate, growing in some important states. Generally, they lean Democratic. Not overwhelmingly so, but a fairly democratic group. So they could be important in some of the swing states like Georgia, Michigan, Pennsylvania, in particular, that all have relatively large Indian American populations.
And Kamala Harris herself has a little bit of background of Indian culture, like her mother's background is Indian, so that way are the people more supportive of her or Donald Trump? Among Indian population?
Yeah, so on average, the Indian American population is more supportive of Harris and Democrats in general. I do think her Indian background is probably a small part of that, but even if it was a non-Indian candidate at the top of the ticket, the Democratic candidate would be expected.
Donald Trump has criticized her for using her background.
Yes. J.D. Vance also has an Indian background. So there are prominent Indian Americans on both sides.
Yes. Sir, though there is no major correlation between presidential debate performance and election results, but still, how much do you feel Kamala Harris's performance in the debate would affect her poll prospects?
Yeah. So generally, debates are not very significant in determining election outcomes. They have very short-term effects on polls, but typically last a few days or a week or so. So I don't think the September debate is going to have much of an effect either way, nor do I think the October debate between the vice presidential candidates is going to matter very much. I think it's all about developments over the next few weeks and mobilizing your supporters and getting them to turn out to vote.
So there have been 2 assassination attempts on Donald Trump so far. So what do you think has led to this kind of level of hatred and political violence in the US? And will former US president benefit out of it?
Yeah, so there's some very intense rhetoric on all sides in the United States. I think more intense than it was 20 years ago. So that's probably a contributing factor. The Butler, Pennsylvania incident, there were obviously some very serious security lapses on the part of the Secret Service and local police officials. So that was a very, very serious, potentially disastrous situation that that the head of the Secret Service resigned over those lapses and errors. So I think that's certainly played a contributing role in why the first attempt was such a close call and so serious.
Okay, women voters are traditionally considered like Democrat supporters, with Kamala Harris making abortion law major poll issue. So, do you think people will support her on the issue of abortion law and women issues?
Yeah, so I think abortion rights and access to abortion and other reproductive health issues are a strong issue for the Democrats. Generally, a majority electorate favors their positions more than the historic Republican positions. Trump has tried to move away from kind of the base Republican position on abortion. So we've seen this in the Republican platform, in the debates, and the like. So, abortion and reproductive health issues are a strong issue for the Democrats, and the Trump campaign is trying to kind of move away from the core Republican positions.
And during the debate also, she raised it massively, the abortion law and women rights issues. While Trump, changed his positions twice during the debate in October. So, is Trump on the back foot on this issue?
Yeah, so I mean the way I'm thinking about this campaign is there are three key issues: the economy, immigration, and abortion. So the economy is the most important one. It's a mixed bag for the Democrats. Abortion and immigration are kind of the most important substantive policy issues. Abortion is a strong issue for the Democrats, and their positions are more appealing to the moderate, decisive voters, whereas immigration is a stronger issue for the Republicans, and their positions are stronger, more appealing for the moderate voter in the middle.
And Kamala Harris was the one who was dealing with the immigration laws during the Biden administration. So Trump has massively criticized her over immigration issue. So do you think she's on the back foot on this issue, immigration?
Absolutely. So I would say that Harris is on the back foot and on immigration, and has to defend some policy positions that are not particularly popular amongst the voters who are going to be decisive in this election.
Sir, both the presidential candidates are on neck and neck in the all 7 battleground states, according to the recent polls which were conducted last week. So, what do you think will be critical factors in determining who will be the winner in the White House race?
Yeah, so this is going to be an extremely close election. So the national popular vote is going to be very close, and the Electoral College is going to be very close. So it is all going to come down to those 7 swing states. So key issues are going to be mobilizing your voters over the final few weeks of the campaign, making sure that they get out to vote, either in person, mail-in ballots, and the like, and kind of continuing with those get out the vote operations until election day.
So what are the major factors you feel that people will vote? Like they will vote on immigration, you are saying, and women rights, and what are the other issues you think they'll vote?
Yeah, so I think the other most important issue, probably the most important issue, is the economy. So the economy is a real mixed bag in the United States. So some factors are very positive, some are not so positive. So on the positive side, for the incumbent administration, the Democrats, there's still very low unemployment rates, and particularly low unemployment rates in some of the swing states like Georgia. But on the negative side, inflation has been quite high. It's coming down. The inflation rate is coming down, but it has been quite high over the Biden-Harris administration. And voters, many voters, have real concerns about that, and are very concerned about the cost of living and what they pay for housing, healthcare, childcare, and these other big ticket items. So, that's...
And do you think gun violence is also an issue which the voters will
Yeah.
think?
Yeah, and it's always an issue. It's, for some voters, it's kind of a top 3, top 5 issue. It's will be important for some, but I think attitudes on gun rights and gun control are pretty static right now, and people kind of have their position, and it's not changing very much. Whereas I think on these other issues, the economy, immigration, abortion, and reproductive issues, the views are maybe a little more fluid and responsive to the positions that the candidates are taking and articulating in their messaging and advertising.
Okay. So what are your expectations from 2 candidates with regards to electoral college and popular votes?
Yeah, so I think the popular vote is going to be very close. I think within 2 or 3 percentage points, one way or the other. Electoral college is going to be extraordinarily close as well. It's quite plausible that there will be a narrow victory. There's even a possibility that it will be a tie in the electoral college, that 269 to 269 that will end up going to the U.S. House of Representatives. It's going to be very close, and it's going to come down to these seven states. So all the recent polling shows it's just very close. No candidate has a decisive lead in any of the 7 states, and it's going to be a nail biter.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.